Here at Rangiora, catching up with, well, a man I wanted to speak to for a long time. Firstly, Ricky May, welcome to Campbell's Comments.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me, yeah.
You weren't expecting that as an intro. New Zealand Cup Week, I don't know why people call it Cup Week. It's basically Cup fortnight, if not 3 weeks. This is a massive, time in harness racing for New Zealand, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, and all you Aussies love coming over here for next week. That's what keeps us all going too, especially having 2 Aussie horses in it.
I might go back a step first. I reckon they want to come a week earlier and go to Kaikoura and experience Kaikoura, and then it is the build up for everything after that. We'll go to a trial day where there was 23 trials or 20 trials and horses everywhere. Like it is a show, and it's a spectacular in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I guess everyone that's got a reasonable horse wants to be there in Cup Week. Pretty hard. Hard week to win a race, I have to tell you. You've got to have a pretty good horse, but they sort of shine on Tuesday, don't they?
They do, and people target it. A lot of the bigger stables I've seen, they put a lot of their horses out, just concentrate on their race horses for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. There's, a fair bit of that goes on, and they come from everywhere to race there, so it's all good for everyone, I think.
New Zealand Cups, how many have you got on the wall?
I'm fortunate enough to win 7, so yeah, I'll probably have my time.
No, we'll get to that in a sec because you don't have a drive this year, so you're a little bit of a different. What does it take? That's one of the reasons I wanted to get you on. What does it take to actually win a New Zealand Cup as far as a driver? Because it seems to me you nearly want to be aggressive to posse up and get into the right spots. Then you have to be quiet, and then you've got to be aggressive again. Am I reading it right, or is there a bit more to it than that?
Well, I think there's a wee bit more to it. I think, number one, you've got to have a good enough horse, and this year's a really open field. I think probably, there's probably 8 chances in the race. I'm not saying some of the others get a good run, they're good enough as well, but you certainly got to have a good enough horse, and probably, most people know their horses pretty well and how you're supposed to drive them. I mean, over a 2 mile, you've got to be a bit patient and hopefully get a bit of luck in the running. Patience
is the key, you think?
Yeah, well, I've probably had more luck with patience, but I mean, I've been aggressive as well. It all depending on your horse. Some got more speed than others, so it all depends on your runner too. If you get a good run or not. But like Terra Love missed away and got used in the race and still won. That was a super run, really, to over 2 mile. That doesn't happen very often.
Is that your biggest one? Your biggest thrill?
Oh no, probably my first one, Inky Lord. That was unreal what he did. He sort of got checked at the 600 and, he probably lost, a few lengths. The old videos you can't tell these days, but man, he lost a bit of ground, and to run his last quarter the way he did and win it was just phenomenal. Does
that mean a bit to you, like it was your first one as well? Like possibly something that was on your radar, you're thinking, will I ever get a chance to win one?
Oh, definitely. Like, you always look at it and think, Jesus, will you ever, have a chance of winning a race like that? But he was my first one and put in such a big effort. I'm not saying all the other ones, they all mean something, they're all different sort of horses, a whole lot of them, but, that was probably still the biggest thrill, yeah.
As a Kiwi, is the New Zealand Cup, like for a driver, is that your pinnacle? You've won races everywhere around the world. You've won overseas, I think, as well. Is this the pinnacle?
Oh, I think so. I think most New Zealand drivers think it is, and I think a lot of Australians think that as well. Tis a great race, or usually is, and it is great to win.
You haven't got a drive this year, and unfortunately for you, as a driver, and predominantly most of your life you've been a catch driver. Like, how far out do you start looking for a potential New Zealand Cup drive?
Well, you basically got to be there a long time ago, I'd say, coming up from last year or something. Had a couple of chances, but they didn't kind of make it. So, whether they're in the top bracket, I don't know. But you never know, do you, with a New Zealand Cup? But, most of the horses I have driven, I drove quite a while before they went into the Cup, to be fair.
Is it the sort of, I think I know the answer, but is it the sort of race that a fluky horse can win, or it's one of those races generally it's the best horse wins it?
Yeah, well, most times the favourites do have a pretty good chance, I'd have to say, but I think this year, it's more open, more even field. It might be a wee bit harder this year for a favourite, I don't know. It's all depending on the run.
Have you had a look at the field this year? Can you see how that race is going to pan out? Because there doesn't seem to, as you say, there's not a dominant horse, so the depth might be up there for about 4 or 5 different horses. Is it the sort of race where there could be a lot of moves in this year's Cup?
Yeah, it all depending how quick they run it, I guess. But if they run along, I don't think there'll be too many moves. But I think the start is the biggest thing. Yeah, this year anyway.
And who steps, and that gets back to and there's a few ifs and buts. I think a couple of better horses off the second line as well, or standing start horses are off the second line. That takes away their advantage a bit, doesn't it?
No, it definitely does. It's and then again it might help some too. You just don't know if they're a wee bit iffy at the start. But it is a bit of a disadvantage. I mean, Monkey King was a bit of a little brat at the start, and he won it from the Unruly, which is big effort. Win a New Zealand Cup from the Unruly, which is basically 10 metres on the outside. But he was just a freakish little horse.
Yeah, it's hard. I think he's going to be there. Is he going to be there? I think.
Yes, yeah.
You're driving him?
No, I'm not. I've got to hold on to the cup, evidently. So,
are you allowed to say that or not? Well, it doesn't matter. That's okay. We've said it anyway. Pick one horse in the cup this year. Which horse would you like to drive?
Oh, I've always been a Self-Assured fan, but he was pretty disappointing at Ashburton, I thought. But I'd say Mark and Natalie would have him a lot more ready. One draw is a wee bit of a worry, but I suppose I have to stick to him, won't I?
You don't have to. You can say whoever you like, but that's that combination with Mark and Natalie and what they're able to do with their training. You think they'll have him turned around ready for this race? I'll be targeting this race. Yeah,
well, he was. The Ashburton Flying Stakes is a pretty good leader-up race, and he probably was pretty disappointing in my books. Anyway, I don't know. They've obviously probably found something wrong with him. I don't know, but it sort of leaves it a wee bit more open, I'd have to say. There's a few good beginners in it, and there's a few iffy ones. So I'd say the run's going to be the biggest thing.
For the Australians out there and a lot of other people watching it, how long ago you had a terrible incident? Was it 2 years ago now, or a bit longer?
Yeah, coming up 3 in January, end of January, yeah. So, I've been as good as gold ever since, yeah.
So the health's fine, you look healthy and you look fit, and you're good as gold? Yeah,
well, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think I was capable. So, I've had no problems since. It's just a freakish thing, and I can't remember a thing, to be fair. So, it was blank for a week.
Have you gone back and watched the replay?
No, I haven't actually. Everyone told me not to, so I've stuck to what they said, so... No, I could have wanted to, but I haven't, no.
No, it's one of those things I think it's great. How old are you, Ricky?
64.
And you still love it?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, it's probably time for me to retire, to be fair. I've had a fair old go. I guess there's plenty of young ones coming up and behind, so, I don't know how much longer I'll be going, to be fair.
I was going to say, don't announce your retirement here. That'll turn. Everyone else, New Zealand harness racing, it depends on who you talk to. Oh, it's going bad. Oh, it's going good, and all the rest. It seems to me to be tracking along okay. Yeah, it's on a negative, but a lot of racing in general is in that way. Do you find that everything's going, or how do you find things are going?
Oh, I think it is pretty hard going. You just watch the Aussie races, and there's so much government backing, isn't there, with Australian gallops and trots. Compared with New Zealand, we get no backing from the government, so it makes it pretty hard, and the TABs have got to be going well for us to survive, to be fair. But I mean, everyone's in the same boat, aren't they, all over the world? It's a bit of a battle, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better for the next 12 months, but hopefully it'll pull its way through. I think the stakes have got to go up to keep the owners and that in the game, because we haven't got horses, we've got nothing.
Yeah, no, that is a little bit of a worry. The one thing I like, and I'll be interested, you've got a lot of young kids coming through. I was pleasantly surprised when I got to Kaikoura, sorry. I get them all. There's too many Ks. But there was, the juniors were there. There's a lot of kids. And there's a lot of ladies involved in the sport now, a lot of lady drivers, which I think is great, lady trainers as well.
Yeah, no, there's getting more and more involved, so just hope that it carries on for their sakes, because it's not an easy game, you have your ups and downs, there's no doubt about that. What is it? Oh, no, I can't remember that. I can't say it actually, what the saying is, I'll get into trouble, so it's all good. Ricky, thank you very much. What about Cup Day? Have you got a winner for anyone out there if they're watching? You got a little sneaky one? Always hard to win on Cup Day, but I don't know.
Don't worry about it. We don't have to worry about that. I don't like throwing people over. Thank you very much for joining me, mates, and good luck. Hopefully I'll see you Cup Day, and hopefully get a couple of winners.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you.